Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 50th Anniversary Ultimate Action Figure. I found this at a Walmart store, that's where they've been popping up lately, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 50th Anniversary. Who will survive, and what will be left of them? America's most bizarre and brutal crimes. What happened is true. Now the motion picture, that's just as real. You can see Leatherface in the front here, one of the victims behind him. One side of the package, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Other side, it's got a totally different look. At the back, here's the figure. Here's a bunch of different display options. At the bottom, there's a barcode, if that helps anybody. This is one of Neca's Ultimate figures, window box packaging. You can hear the Velcro as I open it up. On the inside flap, here's Leatherface posed up, holding his chainsaw, and then here's the figure with all of his accessories. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out, and he comes with a ton of stuff. First of all, he has a total of 4 hands, a total of 3 heads, 2 interchangeable aprons. He's got a meat cleaver, a little hammer thing, spoon, some tongs, a knife, a larger hammer, a sort of meat hook, and a chainsaw. Tons and tons of stuff for bloody torturing and killing. So this is Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the film is cringy, and I don't mean because it's bad, just because the body horror is so bad, both what you see and what you don't see, that it makes you cringe. He's this weird, murdering psychopath, gender confused, I don't know what. But I'd say he sits there with the modern horror icons. Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Michael Myers, Pinhead, and probably Ghostface Killer. So let's take a closer look at him. Now this guy is significantly bigger than the previous Ultimate Leatherface. So, start with his face, and he has the extra sort of face on top of his face. You can see it's all stitched together. Hair is kind of wild. It is such a terrifying and gruesome type of image in person. He's got this big apron here with blood all over it, which I didn't realize. I believe it actually comes off. It makes me wonder what's underneath. Is it just a suited guy? You could put a regular head on here and have your average Joe. Single jointed knees and elbows. I like the wrinkles, texture, bracelet. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. It's just like terrifying. He has this other face on top of his face. You don't know what's underneath. This is horrible, sick, deranged, demented guy. Kind of reminds me of Mankind from wrestling, only this guy's actually scary. Ugh, can you imagine being in that type of situation? I mean, that's all you're doing when you're watching a movie like that, too. And this was 50 freaking years ago. Today, there are so many like it, but then there weren't. And then, here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. And I was very interested what was underneath. So it is sort of like a regular body. Kind of a little bit wrinkled up. See, that's kind of a fat body, but honestly his stomach's not sticking out that much. His zipper's kind of open. His tie has this weird sort of design on it. If you wanted to use him for a regular base body, you'd have to repaint the tie probably, and at least paint over that silver thing so it's not very noticeable. A little cut in his leg there. Shirt's kind of dirty. Now let's check out his accessories. Let's start off with his hands. He has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his gripping hands. And here's his other pair of hands. This is a pair of default hands. They would look good relaxed at his sides. Now let's look at his heads. He has 3 of them, 2 in his more traditional look, and 1 when he's sort of dressing as a female. Here's a look at his first head. This is the one I'll be using with the figure most of the time. It's just so fucked up. He has this other face of somebody killed on top of his face. I mean, what is more terrifying than seeing something like that? And here's his next head. This one looks like a little more damaged on the forehead and the chin. And here's his third head. Just when you think it can't get any worse, more deranged, crazy, he comes in with a wig on, an apron, screaming like a woman. Although I guess some of that stuff's normal nowadays. Now to his aprons, and I think this is such a cool way to handle this. This is what makes it a true Ultimate figure. You have 2 completely different looks. You have the sort of yellow apron with blood on it with his normal Leatherface face. And then you have the other apron with the female face, and Neca very easily could have made that 2 different releases. They are known for doing stuff like that, even with their Ultimate figures. But they put it all into one release, saving you some time and money. I like that. So we have this apron here, kind of yellow. It's covered in blood. Wraps around his neck. You kind of take it off his neck and then just slide it down under his body. Then we have this blue one. This is more for the female look. It's got a pocket here for some accessories or weapons. Same type concept. Like I said, I think it's super cool that they handle this way. This is what truly makes this an Ultimate release. And if you have the previous Ultimate Leatherface, he has this look. Guess what? Keep that look, and then you can use this one in the other look. Here he is with his first apron, kind of a butcher's apron. This is what I consider his main look. And here he is with his second look. This one is where he's sort of dressed up and thinks he's a female. It's arguably more fucked up than his regular look, which is pretty crazy as is. Now let's look at some of his smaller weapons. First of all, we have a large meat cleaver, terrifying thing. We have this little hammer, can do some serious damage to somebody. A little wooden spoon. Oh my god, don't even get me started on what that makes you think is going on. We have these little tongs, more torture device, and this knife. Here's Leatherface holding both his meat cleaver and his knife, then holding both the hammer and his tongs, and here holding that spoon. Now what's he going to do? Torture you? Kill you? Wear your skin? And eat you? My word. Now we have this larger hammer and a meat hook. Here's the larger hammer. It is all black. And they have this meat hook, which is very, very thin, but looks very, very dangerous. Here's Leatherface holding that larger hammer. And here he is holding that meat hook, kind of looking at it like he's deciding what to do with it next. And for his chainsaw, his signature weapon. It is Texas Chainsaw Massacre after all. Imagine a guy running, screaming, flailing his chainsaw in the air. It's a terrifying thing. You can see the chainsaw, it is covered in blood. It's a green chainsaw. You can hold it in the back and support it at the top. Here he is, running around and flailing his chainsaw through the air. He can hold it with either one hand or with two. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Let's check out his height. And this guy is very large. He's enormous. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.9 inches tall, which can translate to about 20 centimeters. And now for his articulation. Starting with his head, he can rotate side to side. He can look up and down a very good amount. He can tilt his head, which gives him a good sort of curious personality. His tie is even articulated. It can move from side to side. Shoulders and a ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He's got a single jointed elbow. Goes about 90 degrees with rotation. His wrist can rotate and it's hinged. This one is up and down. Torso is one solid piece. Ball joint of the waist, rotate around, forward and back. Legs, complete as splits, ball joints. Rotation against the ball. Legs go forward, not too much, back not at all. Single jointed knee with rotation again, and his ankle. Forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock. Here's a look at Leatherface torturing and killing his latest victim, and a closer look at the man himself. Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Leatherface figures. Here's this new Ultimate Leatherface next to the previous Ultimate Leatherface. This is a huge upgrade, and he's really, really big. I kind of remember Leatherface being a pretty big guy in the movie. So starting with their faces here, the detail is just so much more on this new version. The previous apron is cloth soft goods. This one is sort of a plastic or rubbery material. You can see the striped shirt here. This one's a little bit sort of plain looking. I mean, they look very similar, but it is a brand new body, brand new sculpt, and it has a lot more features, making this one a much better Ultimate release. And if you have the previous version and you're annoyed they're making a better version and you get the new one, well, you can display one like this and one like that and have completely different looks. Although the size is quite different. There is another Ultimate version coming out very soon, and that has a completely different look as well, I believe. And here he is, next to an older Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre victim action figure set. This is a deluxe set. I believe it was by Neca from a very long time ago. And here he is, next to McFarlane, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Remake Sheriff. Then, next to Chainsaw Man. Next, with another chainsaw-yielding murderer. This is the guy from Hostel. Here's Leatherface, next to Professor Pig. The version on the left is from DC Direct, and the version on the right is a custom. Professor Pig is a deranged killer, torturer from the DC Comics. He's a Batman rogue. And I've seen a lot of people online taking the Professor Pig mask that came with the DC Multiverse, Damian Wayne Robin, putting on Leatherface, and turning him into a sort of makeshift Professor Pig. I tried this myself with the previous Ultimate version of Leatherface. Now I want to try it with this version. So I took that Professor Pig mask, glued the two pieces together, put it on his face, and sort of tucked the top under his hair. And it works pretty good as is. If you want to make it a little better, you probably need to find a different head the mask can fit over. But right now, it looks like Professor Pig. Professor Pig typically wore regular clothing like this, a button-up shirt, and an apron in the front. It is a perfect makeshift Professor Pig. And in case you were wondering, here he is next to a couple of McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. A closer look at the Professor Pig mask. It looks pretty good as is, but if you wanted to do further modifications, you could make it look even better. And I didn't glue it on, it sort of just tucks under the hair. Now let's check him out. Next to some other NECA horror figures. Here he is, with some Universal Monster classic horror figures. Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and the Mummy. And here he is, with some more modern horror icons. Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and Pinhead from Hellraiser. And here are my most recent NECA figures. These are all from Walmart. Now let's check him out. Next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a NECA figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his NECA brothers. In Freddy are 5 different action figure lines, all from NECA Toys, all 7-inch scale, and I'll say Leatherface here seems a little bit bigger than the average NECA figure. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys, here's Leatherface next to a baking potato, and here he is with some McFarlane and DC Direct figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a fantastic Leatherface figure. My only complaint would be I feel like he's a little bit too tall, and Leatherface is a pretty big guy in the movie. This is truly what an Ultimate figure should be like. Numerous looks, tons of accessories, interchangeable parts. It is great. It is a huge upgrade over the past Ultimate Leatherface, and probably costs about the same, maybe a couple more dollars with inflation over the years. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Accessories are fantastic. His articulation, it's pretty good. I mean, he does have single jointed knees and elbows, but you don't need this crazy, super articulated Leatherface to get into Spider-Man-like poses. If I were to rate this figure, I'd give a very solid 8 out of 10. It's a very good release. Definitely the best Leatherface figure out there. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say to the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.